All right, we're officially begun. Welcome to Athens, everyone, and Opesh podcasting.
Yasu.
We're here with Yasu.
Kalimera.
I love that word.
Kalimera.
You know what? I love most Greek Athens words. Most Greek words I've heard so far. I'm like, I fucking love it. Thank you. Fuck Harry's toe.
F Harry's toe. Yeah, but F Harry's toe for the Aussies.
F Harry's toe for the English.
F Harry's toe.
All right, cheers. No, hang on. What is it?
Or you can just say yamas.
Yamas.
Our health.
Or you can say sine yamas, which is to good health.
To good health.
That's wonderful. That's truly wonderful.
I don't drink beer, but I've been drinking it today.
Don't drink beer.
No.
I'm sorry, we can't be friends.
No, I'm sorry. I'll just exit now.
You drink
Cheers.
beer? What are you talking about?
I do not drink beer.
Well, you...
No. Don't scour your memory way back
That's
to
actually true, yeah.
2007.
She doesn't drink beer.
Rewind all the way back to 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
No beer.
No beer.
You're a beer drinker?
Of course.
She's
Being a Brit.
English.
I'm from
Hang
a
on a
place
sec.
in England called
I was going to say,
Faversham.
where are you from in Britain?
Well, where I come from in England is, they say it's England's oldest brewery. I think that means England's oldest surviving brewery.
Ah.
So, you know, we have a hop festival and, you know, some pretty awesome beers on tap, that sort of thing.
I'm just adjusting volume
I can't
headphones.
hear you now.
Sorry?
I couldn't hear you. Whoa, that music is loud.
Yeah, because we're right next to the speaker.
Yeah, that makes sense, but I
But
couldn't
isn't
hear.
it wonderful? There's Jimi Hendrix.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good music to have in the background.
It's got good.
Roomies with John Lennon in London during the 60s, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. And the Jimi Hendrix Experience was actually a British band rather than an American
Yeah, see, I
band.
can't hear you in your microphone. I can
All
hear
right. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right.
And go again.
So the Jimi Hendrix Experience was... Can you hear me?
Can't
It
you hear
was
her?
a
I can hear her.
British band, not an American band. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I guess so.
How? Which band are we talking about?
The Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Ah, so they're Brits who do a
They were
Jimi
British,
Hendrix.
Yeah.
So do they do like a
lived
bit
in
of
London
a? Like,
with
is it a
John
bit of a
Lennon.
show? But do they have an individual who looks like him?
No. This is not a tribute band. This was the band that, excuse me, Jimi Hendrix was part of a band called The Experience.
Oh.
And they were, he wasn't, okay, so he was a guitarist, but he had a band. You can hear a tambourine and a drum, right?
Right, yeah, that's true. So it's always been Jimi Hendrix. It's like Ben Harper and the Innocent Criminals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was the
The Jimi Hendrix
Experience, and the Experience
And they were
was
British.
the band.
They were London-based.
Ah.
And,
It was
John
like
Lennon
Elvis
and Jimi Hendrix.
Costello.
Ah,
They were roomies.
Well,
John Lennon and Jimi Hendrix.
really?
Really,
There you
really.
go.
Yep.
No one knows their names though.
I'm sure 10 years
Come
ago
on now.
I could recite them.
Come
for
on,
you.
Alex.
If my sister were here right now, they. Oh,
Is she a muso?
Sorry?
Is she a muso?
A what?
musician.
Your sister?
My sister is I suppose, an amateur musician. She's got a Fender. She's got a wah-wah pedal. She's got a Marshall amp.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fucking
you know,
wah-wah.
her bedroom window was always open in Faversham, and people always said, "Oh, I can hear your dad playing the drums and your sister playing the Stratocaster." So, proud musical family, and I walk in their shadows. So
Do you play something?
I played the piano and the saxophone when I was younger.
Saxophone. Saxophone.
Expensive, but I had a strange fixation with Brazilian jazz when I was 12 years old.
Brazilian
very
jazz?
specific.
That's very specific.
Oh yeah,
What-
girl from Ipanema.
Okay,
yeah.
tell us how you stumble upon something that specific.
Oh
When
heavens,
you were
I don't
12
know.
years old.
I think it was because my father.
Was there a moment or was it a slow influence?
My father is a very nervous driver, and he relies heavily upon music to keep him calm. In the
Brazilian
car.
jazz.
In
Jazz?
the car. He played
Brazilian
all sorts of
jazz?
Not specifically. It was music from when he was young.
Yeah.
So the 60s. It was the Beach Boys. It was Jimi Hendrix. It was Cream. You know? Do you know Cream?
Yep, they belong in cakes. But no, yes, I do know Cream the band. Yes,
Yeah.
no, you're right.
I
So
don't know
60s
Cream.
music from when he was young kept him calm when he was driving. My dad's a bit of a, you know, a bit bad-tempered, but as soon as he played his music in the car, everything mellowed out and he drove very smoothly. And I just remember my dad just really punching it, you know? And so it's a happy memory of my dad suddenly calming down and the drive being very pleasant. So yeah, jazz.
Did you guys sing in the? Did you sing in the car?
Oh no, I wasn't allowed.
Your parents sound really strict.
He was a nervous driver.
I don't understand why your folks are so strict when they were hippies here in the 70s.
A lot of people ask me that. You know what? Not all hippies are down to earth and just massive weed smokers. Some of them are. They still have these idiosyncrasies from when they were at boarding schools.
Okay.
Both my parents went to boarding schools. They were quite, whipped.
Yeah.
And my mother had no brothers or sisters, and my father's brother was so much younger than him that they were expected to be very strong, independent people.
Yeah.
So when it comes to things such as driving and working, they had a lot of performance anxiety, and apparently playing 60s music in the car was just what calmed my dad down. And so eventually, as soon as we got through the junctions and stuff, everything from Hendrix to the girl from Ipanema was plain sailing, and yeah, just a very pleasant experience.
I can relate to that. I love driving with music. I can't drive without it, and I need to play it loud. And I do a bit of screaming in the car. But you know what? I'm not fucking abusing people on the road.
See, that's your coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, apart from the person on the receiving end.
No, see the
Apart from the cunts next door to me, listening to my fucking music loud.
Greek music in the car.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Terrible.
Tell me, give it to
there
me.
was
Go
a
on.
lot of Despina Vandi being
Hey,
played.
Despina Vandi. I love it.
Yeah. It was just, when the clarinet would come on, and it was, oh my god, oh dear lord. There's this guy in Paros on the island who's down at the port. Oh my gosh, all season while I was working, he just come through with a clarinet. And it was always Popo Maria, and I'm like, and I turned around to him on my last trip this time around, and I get down there to the port, and I'm like, look, I have been listening to this shit all summer. Play me another song and I will give you a tip, but I am done with this, one trick pony. So he starts playing the song. All right, okay.
You got sick of
woman of my word, I will give you a bloody tip. And his response was, the tourists don't know anything else. And I'm like, the tourists don't know Opopo Maria either. I'm like,
they know
Yeah. As a tourist,
yes.
I have no idea what you're fucking talking about.
Opopo Maria,
Opopo Maria. You don't know this? Oh, come on. Popo Maria Sagapo. Yeah.
What's the equivalent to something I might
Maria.
understand?
Virgin Mary,
I love you.
Oh, Jesus. So is it like
you have to be Greek, really, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right,
a little bit.
So that's a little bit of Greek
yeah.
NJ for you.
My musical education came from, I had to find it myself.
Yeah.
Usually in the one record/CD shop in the small country town I grew up in, where you'd sit there and you'd have to pop it in with the headphones.
Yeah.
So I would just be sitting there for half the day with the guy cracking the shits because I didn't actually have the money to spend on the $5 or $6 or $4 it was for a single or a single on a CD.
A single or an EP or a CD.
Single or an EP. And I would just sit there and he's just like, oh my gosh, that little town kid. Parents owned a shop in town, and she sat there all day.
Stuff. It was really hard to get your hands on some music, the music you were looking for. Exactly. I mean, we used to come on holiday here, me and my family, in the summer, and this is before broadband. This is before YouTube.
Oh, dude, LimeWire and the internet single just...
Oh, I wasn't allowed that.
Yeah,
my God.
Well, your family was strict. No, see, my one was sitting there, and when we finally got a computer, which was a lot later than most of my mates, and we were figuring out how to download before this whole downloading is illegal.
I used to use the voice recorder.
Yes, to record things.
Yeah, exactly. And every 60 seconds it ran out, and then I would record again. So there was a little jump,
I was really into you jump into the chat rooms and you'd meet somebody and they'd be from the States or something and they'd want to send you something and then you'd hear the dial-up tone in the background or the computer would shut down and you're like, shit, I've been downloading that one song for 3 days. I'm like, Mom, fuck, get off the phone. You're cutting off the internet.
I had terrible insomnia as a teenager, and what I used to do when I couldn't sleep is go down into my dad's computer room because he was working from home at the time.
Would you listen to the...
That's right.
Really? And that worked?
Greek radio.
Yeah, that put you to sleep.
Yeah, I loved it. I used to record it. I used to stream it off the internet, record it, save it on files. I had an MP3 player. Used to go to school. It got me through school. That
Greek
plus James
music.
Bond. Yeah, that plus James Bond. Yeah.
When you say James Bond, what do you mean?
Watching the films.
Bond.
Oh, hang on. So I thought you were using it as a throwaway expression. You love James Bond.
I think, Greek music, like streamed off the internet, and watching James Bond films were what got me through the pain of adolescence.
You love James Bond films.
I love James Bond films, yeah.
Hey, we haven't even introduced ourselves.
Oh, well, you know.
Go ahead.
That's how it goes. Hostel life.
Cheers.
Hi, we've had a full conversation about our lives.
Hey.
Don't remember your name.
It's not full.
Yeah, that's hostel
It's not
life,
even. It hasn't
isn't
even
it?
begun.
Yeah.
Us.
I'll meet you
Cheers,
later,
cheers.
you know.
Alex.
Stav.
Let's hear from Alex.
All right, hello, nice
That's
to meet
right.
you.
So Alex is from Britain. She's working here as an English teacher, and fuck, within 5 seconds we were talking about very fundamental philosophical
Bodily
things
functions?
about bodily functions.
Yeah, obviously.
So we skipped the,
That plus politics.
Yeah.
Bodily functions.
Bodily
politics.
functions and politics.
What you haven't heard is the
It's all
discussion
the-
about Brexit and stuff like
Well,
that.
it's all part of being a modern woman, talking about politics, bodily functions. Don't be afraid of it. Just go along with it.
We don't have bodily functions, haven't you heard?
Yeah, we don't have politics either.
And Stav, you prefer to be called Stav, but I used to call you Vikram.
Yes,
Back at
Vikram's
Deakin.
fine. I'll answer to that.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Will you
maybe.
accept my still calling you a Vikram?
Yeah,
Or now
sure.
that you're a whole, 7 years later or 14 years later, you've
12.
reshed your life twice. Should I call you Stav?
Sure. Whatever you feel more comfortable
I don't know
with.
what to call you anymore.
I don't know what to call you anymore either.
I think the whole
Call me
point in a
Joker.
nickname is that you don't choose what it is. Your friends choose it for you.
See, mine has a story. Like mine has a reasoning behind
Oh,
it
go
because
ahead.
my birth name is Stavrula.
That's what I was going
Right,
to say.
my birth name is Stavrula. But my mum has. Like I've been grown up being called Vicky my whole life,
Yeah.
mainly because my grandfather dated somebody in Stavrula Vula. He dated another Stavrula before my grandmother, so I'm told. And
Got
when he
it.
met my grandmother, he didn't want to call her by his ex-girlfriend's
Of
name.
course.
So he just started calling her Vicky.
But where did it come from, Vicky?
He just nicknamed my grandmother Vicky. I don't know, I guess it was his pet name for her. How the fuck should I
Nicknames
know?
come out of nowhere
Right?
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So he started doing that, and then when I was born, Mum didn't want to name me Stavrula. She fucking hated the name. She was anti the name. And she wanted to call me Vanessa or Lisa. Or actually, she was going to say, well, if we're going to name her Stavrula, we'll nickname her Lisa Stavrulica,
Oh,
Lisa.
cute. Very Greek.
You know, instead of
Very
Stacy,
Greek.
or then Stacy. And I was like,
Call
oh,
me
gross. Or
Stacey.
Stephanie.
That's not my name. Yeah, exactly.
And then in the end, she just cracked the shits with my dad because Dad was coming up with all this shit. Like he was like, Lisa, like what she's like crazy, like Lisa Kse, like or salty if you'd like, Lisa.
Yeah.
And so he was like, no, we're not naming our child that. That's a shit name.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had an issue with Stacy because it sounded too much like Stasi, like a bus stop.
Stasi.
Like Stasi.
Like a station.
Like a station.
Yeah.
It's like
also, Stasi in German means
Stasi.
the
Right,
secret.
and then he had an
police
issue
in
with
East
Lisa
Germany.
because they had a family friend who had a dog named Lisa, and he's like, I'm not
Lisa
naming my
means
kid.
It's German for dog. Dog
Yeah,
shit
it
or
was just this
something
whole
like that.
freaking kerfuffle.
My God.
And eventually, Mum just cracked the shits, and she goes, "Look, we'll name her Stavrula, and we'll just call her Vicky the same way they call my
Rula.
mum named Vicky." Oh fuck that! Don't call. Oh, that's horrible.
No.
I-
What is
Yola,
that?
Yola.
What is that? What is that?
Vula, Vula,
Okay,
Sula,
Greece-
Rula, Naga.
In Greece, you don't make a nickname out of the first half of your name. You
The
make
second.
the second half of your name.
Yeah, like we do.
To a degree.
In Australia, we just take your surname. What's your surname, Alex?
Mocroft.
So you'd be Crofty.
I like
Yeah,
that.
straight
It's
away.
from Microsoft. I
Yeah,
get it.
straight away we got
Yeah,
it. didn't we?
Crofty.
Crofty.
That'd
So we
be
just
easy.
put an E or an O at the
I'm
end of.
okay with that. I mean, my name on Facebook is Bradley because that's my mother's surname, and people call me Bradders.
Bradders.
At uni, yeah.
Bradders
exactly.
could work in Australia.
Bradzy.
Oh, all right,
Braddo.
Bradzy, Braddo.
Bradsy.
Brad-
I think I'm
Braddo.
okay with nicknames because, like, when I was working in Crete, my boss was called Alex and he was male, and there was a very small number of personnel. So people said to me, "Okay, we're gonna have to come up with a nickname. How about male and female Alex? How about Malix and Falix?" And I was like,
That's really good. That works really well.
So you're gonna
Alex and Falix.
So you're gonna call me Falix now, are you? Okay,
You're
you do
Malix.
realise that Falix sounds a
Phallic.
little bit, yeah.
We have a
You know
weird
what?
way of giving
I was
nicknames
like,
in back
no, I'm
home.
not okay with that. But then nicknames, it's not about you being okay
No.
with it. It's your friends nominate it for
I had
you.
a passenger on a couple of tours ago, whose name I won't mention, but I kept forgetting her name. And she worked for a tour company in Melbourne, and they were called Bunyip Tours. So for the rest of the tour, she was known as Bunyip. I was like, you are Bunyip, and she's like, that's fine, that's okay.
But don't you do that as a strategy as a teacher? Because I forget names real easy, right?
Yeah, I've got 3 Johns in my English class in Kivisya the weekend.
So you got to differentiate.
Ioannis, Yannis, that sort of thing. And we named them by the coloured T-shirt they were wearing in the first lesson. So we've got John Green, John Grey, and John Black.
Well, the author's in your class now, is it?
Sorry?
The author's in your class is John Green.
John Green.
John Green, exactly. And so one of them was like, oh no, I'm wearing a black T-shirt today. You have to call me John Black. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. You were John Black in the first lesson, ergo, you are now John Black, you are now John Grey. I'm not going to call you diabetic John, because that would Yeah. I could so easily do that with one of the kids in my class, but no.
Call him the diabetic.
Because my first impression of him was that his father came up to me and said, you know, my son is a diabetic, but I'm not going to disrespect him. That's so mean.
Actually,
diabetic
that
John.
I would actually I would do that. I would do that. If
asthmatic Joe.
Just
come
stop.
in.
Oh no, I had my
asthma boy.
I had one called Pain in the Ass on my last tour. She was vegan and gluten free.
No,
Have fun with that. She's
no.
like, you're free to call me Pain in the Ass, and so it was.
You know
she
what?
was.
One of my friends said to me, she said, oh, are you talking about Jack, your friend whose bar mitzvah you went to? Yeah, we've got loads of Jacks that we go to school with. Why not just call him Jack the Jew? And I was like,
no.
Okay, why don't you tell me?
Oh, no.
You just tell me why it's not a good idea just to call him Jack the Jew.
I wonder.
Well, I think it's fine.
Okay, we were 13 years old at the time.
Fair enough.
How old are you when you have a bar mitzvah?
Why can't you fucking call someone Jack the Jew? Seriously.
And I was like, I don't
Jew
know,
is
Laura,
not a swear
why
word.
don't you tell me why it's not a good idea to call someone Jack the Jew?
Jew is not a swear word.
It's not a swear word, but like, how would you like it?
I love it. Josh the Jew. That works. Joshua the Jew.
I met a really nice Jewish guy
Joshua
earlier
the
on.
Jew.
He was wearing a T-shirt that was like pro-Syria, and he was like, it had the whole pro-Palestine thing going on. Bless him. You know. But
hey, look, I've met a lot of Israelis on the road, and I love them. I love them because they love me.
Oh yeah.
But I find them very, very cool. And because they've been to the military, it doesn't mean that they're fucking pro this or pro that. They had to go.
I got the same impression as well.
And they actually fucking hated it.
I've met a lot of Israeli guys that have come out of the military and said, "Oh, I've just come out of the military." They didn't go, "I've just come out of the military."
They're like fucking. But they're hard. They're confident, and they fucking know.
Do you know how
I love
messed
Jews.
up the mandatory military service
It is
here?
so messed up, isn't it?
Families have to
Is
pay
it
for
mandatory?
everything. Like, we're in the middle of a bloody economic crisis, and it's
Hang on, is military mandatory?
Yeah,
here?
for males it is. In Greece it is. Well, 9 months
Take it
now.
for a woman. 9 months is
You know
a long
what?
used to
time.
be 2
I agree
years.
Sorry, I agree with that. I reckon we should have it in Australia. I'm going to have a cigarette.
Yeah,
I'll be back in a second.
no. Just have it here. Just we'll grab an ashtray.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't.
smoke it.
No, you can.
Well, you can. They don't advertise it. Let me just grab an ashtray.
Grab an ashtray,
I'm
then.
on the outside. Hang on.
Hang on, this guy's looking over.
Let's go to the bar and get one.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly sneak.
It's all right. You're in Greece now. They're lax on.
What do you
these
reckon of
things
this?
now. Sorry.
What do you reckon of this?
The podcast. I'm loving it. I think it's wonderful.
good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's recording, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not going into the internet.
Oh no, it's fine.
all analog.
I don't have performance anxiety. I don't.
Performance anxiety.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many
it's
people
all
do.
right. Yeah.
But you know, get your deets and stuff, and I can send this to you.
Oh, this would be wonderful. Thank you. I mean, what's your demographic?
Good fucking question.
I have been told that the ashtray is outside because apparently maybe we're not Greek enough. I
So we
saw
can't
people-
smoke here.
Well, technically no, but there were people smoking here earlier and they
It's
didn't
true.
say anything.
So fuck it, we'll
this
just
place
go
has
the ashtray.
changed,
I'll go
man.
get it. I'll go find it.
Nah, we'll smoke outside. Let's not piss them off.
He's turning around and looking. Now, what's up, brother?
What was that?
Australia? Are you Australian?
No, he's not. He's from States.
If you want to go and smoke, it's absolutely
Go-
fine.
go
We
have a
can-
cigarette.
we can
Oi,
maintain
Do you
it.
want him to take over your
Why don't
headset?
you jump in?
Yeah, drop in.
Jump in, mate.
I'm going to
Okay.
go for a cigarette.
I'll tell you why it's called to drop in just
Hang
a
on a
second.
second.
Yeah. All right, we're
now-
pausing just
now-
for a second because
You got to introduce
the
yourself.
addiction to cigarettes is
He's killing us.
unbearable. It's all right.
It's
Bear
a
with us
shame
for
we
1
can't do it.
second.
It's a shame we can't do it here, but it's all right. We'll abide by the rules
What's
for
your
now.
name? Hello, my friend. What's your name? Sorry?
Alex, can you
Sean.
take over hosting
Hello,
duties?
it's nice. Yes, of course. I can take over the hosting duties. We've just met our friend called
be
Sean.
right.
It won't be a problem at all. So we have just met a man called Sean. He's wearing a charming lumberjack shirt. Sean, nice to meet you.
Sean the sheep.
Place on the cans. Oh no, don't talk about that. I have to. Sean the sheep is very cute, but I have to work with it, so I'm not at work right now. Hello, Sean. Where are you from?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
LA.
Oh, wonderful. LA.
I don't know.
So-
I can't actually. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can
Oh,
you
well,
hear
Josh
us?
must have
Do
really
you wanna
good
move
ears.
towards the mic a little bit more.
I can't. I can kind of hear you guys.
All
there
right.
we
So how long you been in Greece?
go. Since April. April for me.
About a month.
About a month.
Yep.
Yesterday.
So
Yep. So what are you doing here? Holidays?
Yeah.
Hanging out? Been here when did you say you got here?
Oh, yesterday.
Oh,
yes.
right. Where
Okay.
did you come from?
LA?
LA, Chicago.
Really? Oh, you came directly here from... Oh, wonderful.
That's not bad.
So jet lag. So
Oh,
no.
I'm sorry. Okay, we promise we won't
it's
exhaust
not as
you.
bad as Australia. It's just,
I actually
Nonetheless.
find the trip over here is a lot more pleasant than the return. See, coming
Yeah?
over here, I usually have an evening flight. So by the time I reach Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Singapore or sort of like that halfway point, it's like I get there and it's 6 a.m. and I've had a little bit of a sleep, and then I arrive in Athens and it's lunchtime. And so you eat and you relax, and it's generally not so bad. But I find going the other way is absolutely exhausting because it just, I don't know, for some reason, reverse, get back to Australia and I'm like, I need my bed for a week. Jet lag is real. It's horrible.
I have to say I've never experienced that
Yeah,
because
but
I've
just hop over the pond.
yeah, I know. It's really easy for British people. I'm not going to lie to you. It cost me like
Yeah, and especially on
£100.
shoulder season right now, it costs nothing.
Yeah, pretty much nothing.
like
yeah, we
1,000
have a
plus.
sort of little and often attitude over in the UK. So, how long are you staying in Athens?
tomorrow I'm taking off. And
All right.
I'm gonna go north. And, I'm gonna try to go to Bulgaria.
Beautiful.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
So you're heading Eastern Europe way?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Have you been up there?
Yeah, I haven't been up to Romania, Bulgaria. My Eastern Europe sort of gone, I'd say Budapest.
Yeah,
I've gone to Budapest, it's great there. So Hungary,
stop holding Annie.
Poland.
Gotta stop.
Haven't really had much of a chance to get over there. Not enough time. Run out.
I've never been to that part of Europe.
It's
but,
great.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only had a
I've always
taste
meant
test
to.
of it, but I'd love to go through the Balkans. I think it'd be fantastic.
I know.
I've heard nothing
I've
but
always wanted to. Yeah, I hear it's bad cheap and.
it's cheap. It's good. It's, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go to the Black Sea. So I've never been up that way.
Well, my mother used to do exchanges from school to what she calls Yugoslavia.
Well,
She calls it Yugoslavia.
I love the
because-
specification there.
Well,
what she calls.
Why wouldn't you call it that? I mean, if let's just say hypothetically, if Greece or God forbid Britain should separate into multiple countries, let's just say Greece separated tomorrow due to war or whatever, and it separated into Crete as a country, Attiki as a country, Macedonia.
Yeah,
as
but that's
a
what it
self-
used to be.
Exactly.
City-states.
As in, like, if I were to talk to my children, I wouldn't say, "Oh, back when I was in Attiki." I'd say, "Back when I was in Greece."
Well, I have family in Scotland, like Glaswegians, like sort of Scotland ever switched from England. You know, it may take like Scandinavia. countries.
You refer, excuse me, you refer to it as how you referred to it at that time. So my mother said, you know, and also,
Yeah, but
We have
it becomes one of those soft spots, you know.
It
Like I mean,
does.
look at Constantinople, Istanbul.
I know.
I mean, that one
and
there's
even
that's
Macedonia. as a
Macedonia.
self-proclaimed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they take offense to it. Like to them, they sit there and they go, "Well, we fought for this
Zero.
tooth and nail, so we would like
know.
to be called by what
I know,
we
and
have
it's so
fought
sad
for."
because Greece and Turkey have spent so long, you know, saying, okay, you know what, it's about time that we made peace with one another. And now they're shitting on each other because of the whole name declaration about Macedonia as a country or as a part of Greece.
But what about like California, like Cascadia? I mean, like
Is that
you know,
going to be a thing?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, Australia. I guess there's no like territories or whatever. Like
Sorry, we've been talking
there
about
is.
Europe so much.
Yeah.
Please tell us about yourself
Yes,
a little
there
bit.
is.
Yeah.
but America has its own.
We have
regions
states
that
and
wanna break up.
territories.
Yeah, want to break.
Tell us a bit more about Los Angeles.
I mean, we've got one of those. Tasmania.
of
Tasmania
course,
broke apart.
Well,
Los Angeles, the name.
Yep.
So it's,
the angel. How do you know how the name Los Angeles came along?
City of Angels. Or sort of Spanish, Mexico territory. So just,
Why the City of Angels? Do you know?
no, could you tell me or?
No, I just find these things really. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have no idea.
I'm from there, but it's just
Just
the history of at least California.
just these things interest me because like the name of a city must come from something,
Yeah.
right? So for example, I know that Saragossa in Spain was originally called Caesar Augusta, and of course Constantinople, Istanbul. I don't know.
Do you think
Santorini.
a lot of the names like Spanish compared to like English
Well,
names?
let's just say
Like, I mean,
New
like,
York is
people-
pretty obvious.
Yeah, like,
you know, there's York in England, New York. It was New Amsterdam for a while, so just
like,
wondering
like
if you knew.
Spanish names like
Anyway, enough about tests on America. So you're going to the Balkans, and then what follows?
I don't know. Just take it from there.
No plans.
Yeah, two weeks.
Oh, wonderful.
How
Okay.
about you? Like,
Not too many plans at the moment. I've just finished working for a whole summer season, so I'm very content staying in Athens and kicking back and relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I'm.
picked up on the language or
What was that?
learned any of the language or
Learn another language?
like I mean you know any Greek? No.
Oh, I speak Greek. I already speak Greek. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's already there. Yeah. So does Alex. So
Yeah, I
the
speak Greek.
Greek's
So
the
your
Greek's fine, but
family-
I've just
She's Greek. I'm not.
yeah.
I'm from a family of language enthusiasts.
Or-
Plus, I'm a language teacher, so I consider it very important to stay in touch.
How's
with
your
my-
phonetics?
Precisely. Oh my goodness.
Do you know I had to spell out when I was graduating university the first time they fudged my name because Greek
Common mistake.
Stavrola.
Stavrola.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. Very bad pronunciation.
Maria.
So for my master's degree, I cranked my name out in the phonetic alphabet.
No way.
And then I also spelt it out
okay.
how it sounds just with the letters. And I'm just like, look, if you're a university professor that is handing me my certificate
Nah.
and you cannot figure this out, we have a problem. And it was the one and only time at any ceremony in my whole life between my master's degree that the
It
name
matters. It
was
matters.
pronounced correctly. I think it's important. I want my name. If you can say Kardashian, you can say Stavrula or Stavrula. If you can't roll your R, I will forgive. I will
You know
forgive
what?
the tongue roll.
You know, my surname is Mocroft, and you'd be surprised how many times people have spelt that wrongly. They say Mycroft from Sherlock Holmes. They say Microsoft. They say Moorcroft. They say Moocroft. You wouldn't believe how many people spell my name incorrectly. And that's why on Facebook I use my mother's maiden name, Bradley. Everybody knows Bradley. It's all good. Also because, if I'm to be completely honest with you, and I'm going to change the subject a little bit here, Facebook came about when I was around 18 years old. That's when the hype came about.
Yeah.
So, you know, I consider myself lucky that I missed the smartphone generation because by that point I was already working and it didn't matter. I don't care about social media. I was too busy working by that stage, and I'm very, very happy, right? But when you're about 18, the identity crisis is still going on. And so I was so sick of being in trouble at school. And when you're in trouble at school, they often use your surname as a means of
Bradley.
punishment. Yeah.
Microsoft.
Alex Mocroft. And so, you know, I
no.
just got sick of hearing my name in a shouty context or on the tannoy, you know, on the PA system, or just people sort of nominating me as trouble through my surname. And of course, my younger sister was at my school as well, so they associated me, and she was such a well-behaved young student that because I got into so much trouble, they associated the two of us. So I just changed my surname. Not legally, just I didn't want to be associated with that shit anymore.
Well, that was what I was talking about earlier with me and my naming and whatnot. When I got to high school,
Onomasia.
so where I was, in South Australia, you could drive it. There was like 16 was driver's license, which is younger than a lot of other places in Australia.
Yeah.
And I had to go, you know, to go get my license, and I had to take an identification. Now, as a high school student, your identification is your student ID card,
So much
maybe a
bureaucracy.
bank account or a bank card, your Medicare card, you know what I mean, your healthcare card. That's
of
your.
course.
Now, somehow, even though my birth name is Stavrula, remember how I said my mum calls me Vicky, down to my healthcare card, government cards, issued cards had Vicky on them, not my birth
Really?
name. They had my mum's nickname for me on them.
That was terrible.
My bank card said Vicky on it. I don't know how that documentation came about, but it was absolutely like. So I got to school, and I went up to them and I said, I really need a new student ID card. I said, because I can't get I can't like, you know, get all my 100 points of ID together. It's ridiculous. I'm 16. So they went about that, went to the banks, got my name changed, had to bring in my birth certificate and all the extra bits and pieces so they could swap all my account details. And then suddenly my name on the school roll changed because all of my reports had always said Vicky, Vicky.
No.
And so we're in class one day and they turn around to me and they're just like, look, going down the roll. And suddenly it's just stumble over the word.
Yeah, they
and
do, don't
everybody's
they?
like,
I remember
who
graduation.
the fuck is that? And I'm like, that's me. And they're like, what do you mean you've got such a wog name? And I'm like, oh guys, like calm down. And then it was like,
They
stars.
said, why have you got such a wog name? That's so rude.
No, see,
Okay,
in England, that's
question.
rude. Hang on, that's in England. So what the term wog is very offensive to the Brits.
Okay, yeah, that brings me to my next
in
point.
Australia,
Yeah.
I mean, we have a movie called
And that's
The
bare
Wog Boy.
fucking rude, man.
No,
Jesus.
it's a term for Europeans in Australia.
Okay, that's bare fucking
It's
rude.
different.
Okay, can I ask you something about Europeans and immigrants in California? Okay, so there's a general idea that immigration happens on the east coast of America. What about the west coast of America? Like, do you have Italians, Greeks, like Jewish communities?
You have everything.
Yeah? You've still got like exactly the numbers, or so what?
I don't have numbers, but I'm just saying like people from all over the world.
Yeah, and they still come to California.
Yeah, I mean the weather. It's like Greece. Like I guess it's like Australia.
Okay.
Everybody lives along the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the best climate in the world. You know, like I'd say California.
Yeah.
Or Greece or Italy.
They've got
or
the
Spain.
good quality wines and
Yeah.
stuff like
You gonna
that.
jump back in, old mate? Huh?
Another wine.
No,
Sorry,
have
we're
mine.
just interrupting
have
the
mine.
program because
I'm
we're
not drinking that. Oh, another mic.
Another mic.
If you'd like. I thought you were another.
It's like
I thought you said
Israel.
another pint. I can't actually hear properly through these ones. Maybe my hearing's shot.
Sorry, please continue.
Like Israel or
I'm going for a cigarette
Mediterranean,
anyway.
the best weather
probably
and
gonna-
climate.
Okay, so
Black
you
out
think that
soon,
it's the climate that attracts Mediterraneans to California?
Pretty much anywhere anybody wants to, or Australia, which is you get the best of everything.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me actually. So it's the climate, and do you think there are other aspects to people immigrating to California as well?
It's like work, like this thing, like wherever jobs are. So it's
Jobs,
like,
of course.
It's just you go with the capital, so like wherever there's work, so it's like a free flow of people, so people like. I was just talking to a guy
Stab,
here
your
working
headphones
here
weren't
from
working.
Ghana, and
He's got to fiddle with it.
Is it easy to open
Now
a
it's working.
business in California? So, for example, if you were a small Greek family or a small Italian family and you wanted to open a pizza restaurant or a gyros restaurant or something like this,
it all comes to money.
it all comes to money.
Talk a bit closer to the
But
mic, brother.
is there a market for it,
Yeah.
for instance? Would there be a
It's
market?
it's for everything. Like I mean, if you get good food, good everything, like food's getting better.
Yeah.
The quality of
Sorry, what are we talking about?
We're talking about California and about the immigrant community in California, whether it attracts Greeks, Italians, Jewish.
Is everyone flooding over there because weed's legal now?
What's that?
Is everyone flooding over there because weed's legal there?
Everything. So like that with
So you're from
no.
California?
yeah. So like Washington,
Well, if
Colorado,
there's a food community.
they started like legalization.
Yeah.
So the only problem is like the federal law.
Yeah, because it's that weird fucking. The states are okay, but the country's not. How the fuck does that work?
Yeah,
like transportation.
So who has final say? The federal government, I guess.
Yeah. So if you're like, you don't want to have anything on you at the airport, or but legally, like in the state, the cops won't mess with you.
Take the train.
If you have, like,
it's like what?
Take the train.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have the cops aren't going to hassle you. You know what I mean?
Well, it just alleviates a lot of social anxiety, I reckon.
Yeah.
Just making it legal. Have they noticed any big changes in crime and things like that? Mental health.
The bad crime is like the opioids, like heroin, and that's because of like the pharmaceutical companies, like you know, and
Big Pharma.
Yeah, they haven't arrested anybody, but like the big families that own like the pharmaceutical. They're not only like the people providing, like getting people hooked on like the drugs because they got kicked off of their healthcare, so they turn to like heroin.
So hang on a minute.
They're also the people getting these big corporations are getting the people to get off of the drugs. So like what they're doing in like states like Florida or California, like rehab. There are a lot of people in like different areas of America, drug addicts. There's a big scam going on where they say like, hey, we'll get you off the drugs. So
yeah,
they're going to certain states. You know, there's like their healthcare provided, and then they're off of it.
Sorry. Did you say that people get kicked off?
Yeah.
Their
if you
health
lose your
insurance claim.
Yeah, but the health
because
insurance,
they've been using, say, for example, heroin.
opioids.
Yeah.
You know, like
Man, so hypothetically, you could have health insurance and you could lose it because you've been using heroin.
No, not because you're using heroin, but say like you get in an accident, they'll push a lot of the drugs.
You get tested?
People.
Oh,
say you got a back injury. Say, hey, you got in a car accident or you're in an injury. Like
it's the equivalent of indoctrination, really.
Yeah.
How so?
In the sense that, you know, let's say, for example, you have a minor headache.
Yeah.
I give you the smallest painkiller.
Yeah.
Now, this painkiller is addictive. So next time you get a headache, you take the same painkiller. And then before you know it, you love this painkiller so much that you're taking it even though you don't have a headache.
But they're increasing they're bought off by like the big pharmaceuticals. So like the medical industry,
racing.
a lot of the doctors, they get like free trips to go like, hey, you want to go to Greece? Well, you know, so they're working for the pharmaceuticals.
And that's fucking people's heads up.
But they're hooking people.
With all due respect, that's bullshit.
But I mean, they're not held accountable. So if you're a doctor and you're a dope.
I know. I feel bad for American doctors. I'm sure they're faced with more ethical conundrums. Hey, Tony.
There's Tony. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, Tony's wicked. Hey, Tony. Sorry. Tony, for the listeners, is...
Which is you, pretty much.
A perfect gentleman who works here. And every time you see him, he is absolutely charming as fuck.
He's got
lovely.
An interesting story. Like,
I know. I've known him for something like 3 years, and every time I see him, he's always got something nice to say. Goodness.
We'll have to get him on the show later.
But he's talking about he migrated here and he got in a altercation with got thrown in jail for
really?
and now he can't leave. It's like same thing like you're stuck. Same thing if like you have a drug, like say you have a background.
Exactly. Once
so if you have a criminal record, you can't travel outside of the states. Like a lot of people had like marijuana convictions before it became legalized.
Then they haven't wiped those fucking things. Well, that's a bit fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's like you can't leave the country, or you can't. You're screwed.
But you'd never guess from somebody as lovely as Tony, because he is just one of those guys that you don't look at him and think dark history. You look at him and you think nice guy.
That's why it doesn't. Even if you're a nice guy, doesn't mean that somebody's not going to attack you or come at you. Anything can happen to you. Like I'm just saying, like we're talking about the medical stuff.
Everybody has a story.
You get an accident or but like with the criminal code or like the law, you could have a background. You can't get job, you can't get work. So we're just saying like
Things that stick are just like they don't take into account that we are different people every day.
I know. Well, one of the things we were talking about before was military and the fact that there is a 9-month mandatory military service here in Greece.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know
something
that.
I heard from a documentary years ago, and this documentary was set out in the 90s, was that, excuse me, there are a lot of young men here in Greece who exaggerate their mental health problems as a means of escaping,
Right.
as a means of circumventing the 9-month mandatory period.
But don't what process do they have to go through to fucking prove something?
Who
like that?
fucking knows, man? And the problem
They'd have
that
to go
lands
see a
you with
doctor, get a
afterwards
certificate.
is that it hinders your job possibilities as a young adult male. And I've got many Greek friends, and some of them are males, young males, and they say that, I'm sorry to break it to you, suicide is more common within young males.
Oh yeah, in Australia,
it or lump it.
in Australia, suicide is owned by men.
Yeah, but
Young men.
same thing in America. But I think with like military or we're talking about guys, men like to feel like
You will
pack-
never be the same ever
Yeah,
again.
no, but I'm saying like the pack mentality is like the military. You're part of something, and you're like you have that comfort where you're like in a pack environment. Like men are tribal.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but then when they threw you, you're trained to be a killer. And
Are you
like,
military?
No, but I'm saying like
I've worked in the military.
I was going to say you probably have some military
Yeah, I have.
background
Yeah.
because you were teaching at military
Yeah, I've
schools.
taught in the military and I also have a military background in my family.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a bit bamboozled by that. Bamboozled.
But what I'm getting at is like you're part of something and then the system throws you out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to deal with it on your own, and then you lose
deal
that
with your own,
brotherhood.
but you no longer have you're taken care of. Like even with it's a job, but it's also like everything's paid for, and like and there's the psychological problem, and even like a lot of the police.
Okay, in Greece, you don't get paid for it. You've got a 9-month mandatory service, and you get paid something absolute crap, like 50 euros a month or something. It's not paid. It's not
Do they
commercial.
take care of your education? And,
You know what? I'm not even sure. I mean, like, I speak a bit Greek, but there are so many stories. Every time I hear more about the Greek military, I just sort of think, oh my God, that's even worse than I thought.
Really?
So don't take my word for it, because I'm not even entirely sure. I have got male Greek friends of about the same age as me and younger, and I'm not going to pretend I know everything about the Greek military, because every single time I hear more about it, I'm just like, okay, that really is absolutely awful. And
Hang on, what do you mean?
most recent Greek elected, what would you say? What would you say? We'd say Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Yeah?
Prime Minister.
Yeah. Like Mitsotakis that we have at the moment is trying to increase the military service in Greece. He's old-fashioned like his father, who is a former Prime Minister of Greece, right?
Okay.
Okay, so like the situation is bad enough. There is a serious macho culture in Greece.
Yeah.
Okay, and they say things like, "Oh, all English guys are gay," and I'm like, "How'd you figure that?" Because we're sexually liberal. Okay, that's bullshit. Okay. All these things are subjective for starters, okay? When English people come to Greece, we think that Greek guys are gay. You know why? Because they kiss each other when they greet each other.
Yeah.
And because they're very physical, they touch each other and stuff, right? Okay, so we think that they're fucking gay. Okay, let's not get started on toxic masculinity, right?
Toxic masculinity. I'd love to talk about toxic masculinity. Is my fucking microphone working?
Just give me a second, right?
Yeah, I'm all fucking down for fuck me.
Toxic masculinity. But the trouble is, like, I swear to God. Go on.
Femininity, why is there a toxic femininity? Like I'm just saying.
Oh, fuck yeah. Anything can be toxic, man.
But I'm just saying, like, masculinity. I'm just saying, like, with men or women, there's differences, and there's overlapping differences. But I'm just saying, like,
Your microphone's not working for a sec, sorry.
but,
Is that on?
yeah. But I'm just saying, what do you think about women military?
What do I think about women in the military? Okay, when I worked in the military, there was one woman out of about 40 of my students. You tell me, what do you think that means?
I think it's tough on the sexual like rape and all kinds of stuff going on.
Okay.
It's toxic, but
Talk now.
Now tell me this.
But I'm saying like masculine.
That's better.
Masculine. Even like Latin countries, like men are different. You know, same in England.
True.
But I'm just saying that. But there's like so sexual. Say like hitting on women, like like a whistling or just
Absolutely.
like. But you go to different countries, like.
Now tell me
it's
this.
just, like, I'm just saying like
going
like a Latin lover. Or just I'm
Sorry.
just saying that you're talking about masculinity. And I'm just saying like men look at. I'll let you go.
I was just going to say, out of the 40 students, one of them was female, right? All 39 of the others said, don't fuck with her.
Really?
She's got a black belt.
Ah. Okay.
And then, we had generals, we had lieutenants, we had all sorts of things.
Okay,
and they all said, don't fuck with Rebecca.
What's this got to do with the topic of toxic masculinity?
We're talking about the military. We're talking about the topic of, I suppose, the idea that women are walking in the shadow of men.
In general?
I suppose so.
I reckon men are fucking. All right. Yeah, they're walking in the shadow, but they're also a fucking protected species.
Women.
Certainly are.
I'll tell you one thing. I was, the youngest in my department and one of the few females. And there's a reason why.
I reckon if you're talking about jobs, yeah. But when I'm talking about relationships, you want to know why so many fucking boys are killing themselves? Because they can't handle their emotions. Women can, but you know what that means?
It's true.
They can control via emotions.
I think,
they can
what you're
manipulate
saying,
via emotions.
I believe
and
you.
And their abuse to men that I've experienced in my life is invisible.
One of the issues that you might be talking about is the fact that women are more free to express their emotions.
No.
Men aren't.
But even like he's saying, even a lot of the jobs, because like more women are in colleges, like in Western countries, and the job market for men, like I mean even like physical. There's a lot of jobs that women, like you say that they're shitty jobs, but men, take enjoy it. They don't enjoy doing them, but there's still like a camaraderie.
They'll get their hands dirty or whatever. I know that there's a discrepancy when it comes to men and women in the job force. But, oi, Stav, why don't you jump on?
You want to hop in?
What's your name again?
Sean.
Sean, we might have to swap you out. Yeah, come in. Sean, thank you for joining us. You can jump back in a bit later,
It's been a pleasure.
But we really want to get Stav in because I haven't seen her in a while. But thank you for being on. Now, are you staying here?
Yeah, just.
For how long? Another day?
I promise this
You're taking
program
off tomorrow?
is not exclusive to
I was going to say, I'll get your deets and I'll email you this.
people or
Is that right?
expats.
Awesome.
What was that?
I said I promise this program is not exclusive to Greek people or expats. People on holiday are welcome as well.
I'm glad you're.
I'm nursing it. Go for it, mate.
I'm glad you're setting the standard, and we haven't answered that question yet. Who's our fucking audience?
Sorry?
Who's our audience? Who's our demographic?
Who's the audience?
Whoever's
Who's our
listening.
demographic?
Okay, how many beers have we got going on here?
I mean, I don't do beer,
Let me
remember?
finish that.
All right.
You don't want that anymore, do you?
Not really, no.
Exactly.
I mean, to be fair, I woke up today feeling ratchet after 2 days of no sleep on tour, and
sounds
I
good.
started my day with a
Where are you
gin and
living at the
tonic
moment?
and a shot of tequila.
Popo,
And
Maria.
that's exactly right. So let's just say the head is
Ne
thumping a little bit.
Catalaveno.
Catalavenis.
Ne
That's
Catalaveno.
right. Which means I understand.
Teach me some Greek.
Okay, you want to learn some Greek?
Oh, here
Okay,
we go.
you want to go first?
Oh, no,
Some
you can
street,
go
give me
first.
some street Greek.
Okay.
Street Greek.
You know where when people say capiche,
Capiche?
you know, the Greek equivalent is catalaves.
Catalaves.
Yeah.
Catalaves.
Catalaves.
Catalaves?
Catalaves. Ah.
Catalaves.
Catalaves.
Catalaves?
Catalaves.
Ah.
But you gotta
Catalaves.
do it with a little bit of attitude as well.
Catalaves.
Catalaves.
Yeah.
Catalaves.
You know, a lot of things that people don't understand is like where the emphasis lands. It's not just.
Tonos.
It's not efaristo, it's efkaristo.
Efkaristo.
Catalaves.
Catalaves.
Ne toxero.
Yeah, that's,
De Toxero.
Oh, there you
He
go.
does- he
You're
does
good.
really
You
well.
mixed it up.
He does.
Whose beer is this? And can I have a
yeah,
sip?
go for it. Down it.
Oh, thank you. Is this yours?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thanks.
It's okay. Herbie's free over here.
I'll get
mate.
another
Do you
one.
want to go 50-50?
Yeah, let's go
Yeah, I mean,
50-50.
yeah.
Okay,
give
we're
it a shot.
going to split this beer because we're in Greece and
Sharing is
Greek
caring,
people
but
have this
liquor is
real
quicker.
kind of
This is the
altruistic-
home of democracy, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean,
Not
they've been through
necessarily
every
democracy,
freaking,
like-
the inventors of,
Do you know what-
pioneers of.
Do you know what altruism is? Altruism.
Doesn't exist.
Oh, κύριε φίλε.
What do you think? Do you think it exists? Altruism?
Ναι, υπάρχει.
Have you done something purely for someone else without any positive feedback to yourself?
It's a difficult question, isn't it? Yeah. Have you ever done anything that is totally selfless?
That's made you feel like shit, and yet you did it.
The idea is, okay.
Sacrifice, I
Here's
guess.
the question. Here's the question you have to ask yourself. If you do something that is totally for someone else,
But you feel good about it.
and yeah, you feel good about it.
Even a little
but
bit.
Wait. But you receive some sort of like negative outcome. You know, you don't get positive feedback, or you know,
Yeah, you make a sacrifice.
yeah, you made the sacrifice, but you don't get anything in return.
Do you feel
get
bad
like-
about it?
Do you feel like, oh come on, like I did blah 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 for you?
Nah, because that becomes a bit like expectation, Indian giverish.
Yeah.
Nah, see, I reckon, I don't think altruism is a thing. I reckon the most selfless person is doing it because it feels good.
Think about your mother.
Don't get us fucking started.
Let's not talk about mothers.
That's
We're
not a
done.
good
Mothers,
topic.
That's a very bad
Is that
topic.
a danger zone?
That's
That's a
very
danger
bad
zone. That's a
topic,
red
bro.
light district.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
touched upon
That's
that.
dangerous. We've gone through mother
We've
talk
gone through
today.
mother
Let's
talk
not go
today.
through that
Actually,
again.
no,
Let's not.
we've yet to finish that conversation.
We will have that conversation another day.
Hang on, where's my 50%?
I mean, over there, mate.
that your
I think.
50%?
Or maybe that one's yours.
Yes, this one is
That's
yours.
Oh, that's mine.
I'm not entirely sure, but you know.
I think when you do something with a very good intention, assisting somebody, and you are met with negativity and abuse, and that person not reflect. I'll give you an example, and I'm not going to mention any names. Within my line of work, I had somebody who was incredibly drunk, and trying to stabilize said individual by a hand on the arm and the back, not in a
Physical contact.
yeah, there was some physical contact, but it was somebody who was so sideways that the thought of them, I mean, should I have just let them fall over? Maybe. Given what then came out of it, which was screaming and yelling abuse, and being within a work environment at the time, obviously I have to remain professional. I can't just tell the person to go fuck themselves.
Of course.
And then, even the next day, and their friend defending them and getting on the bandwagon of don't touch me, don't fucking touch me, right? And in that context where you're sitting there going, you are so blind drunk and your friend does not care enough to come over and help out, and then to cop abuse for that, and to get in shit to the point of like borderline almost
but
losing.
you didn't expect
almost,
that, though.
Almost no, there was no expectation, but it was with the intention of this person needs assistance right now. They're not okay.
But the outcome became negative, but you didn't expect it to. So you weren't acting in that.
I wouldn't have even expected a thank you, to be honest, because to me that's just what I would do. If there wasn't a thank you the next day, I wouldn't have taken offense to that. What I do take offense to is being reprimanded for it in a work environment and getting attacked for that and sitting there and going, hang on a minute, I've got somebody who could have potentially been hospitalised.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you guys the truth.
And don't you love the younger generation? I say younger than me, the tech age of
You
the email.
You say younger is freaking me out.
I don't want to say younger, but just
I knew this girl when she was 17. You say younger.
Yeah, well, when I say younger, when I'm talking about a 21-year-old or a 20-year-old who is entitled to, I'm going to email a complaint to your managers with my side of the story. And
be careful with the word entitled, because entitled means they do have the right.
No, be careful.
Be careful. The word,
what's a better word?
If I could just make a point, very loud
they
and
are,
clear.
because they're paying for a service. That's their entitlement in their mind.
Be careful with the word entitled. You mean privilege.
Privilege is a better word. Yes, it is.
Sense of entitlement is not the same as
entitlement.
Okay, privileged. Okay, calling someone entitled is not an insult, right?
No, that means that they are entitled to something.
Precisely.
It can do.
You know,
But
think
a
about it
sense
in
of
legal terms.
entitlement.
If you say to somebody you are entitled, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it means a good thing.
That's a good thing. That means.
But a sense
you
of
have the right to-
entitlement is different.
They do have the right to do it. In that sense, they do.
If you think you have the sense of entitlement, that's not the same as being entitled. I'm sorry, but I'm not bringing law into it. But entitlement, you're getting entitled and privilege mixed up. Saying, oh, you're so entitled is not an insult. Saying that somebody is entitled means, yes, I agree, you can have as many video games as you like.
Okay, but I never really made that. That was clear to me.
I know. It's a common mistake. Entitled is a legal term. It means, yes, you have the right.
Well, yes, they did have the right.
I
in
think
this circumstance.
You think you have the right is having a sense
of entitlement. I know.
But that is
Be
entitlement.
careful. Be
Yeah,
careful.
and that's lazy language coming in.
Legally speaking, you don't want to get those two mixed up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very small difference. But you know, but in terms of just like throwing words around lazily.
Privileged is the word you're looking for. You're talking about being a princess and having a sense of entitlement.
A sense of entitlement is different.
As a paying customer for a service, you are entitled to have your opinion on somebody who is in charge of you, so to speak, or assisting you or guiding you or whatever you want to call it. They are entitled to send
from
their thoughts
point
and
of view,
complaints regardless.
For sure.
They are, it sounds horrible, but the customer is always right. Not always.
Bollocks to the fucking customer.
We all know
That's
this,
bullshit.
but in the service industry, unfortunately.
Well, it's an unspoken law, isn't it?
Within the service industry, if you've got disgruntled people paying for your service and they are unhappy with the service they have received, they are then entitled to complain about.
They are entitled, but to call a teenager entitled just because they're spoiled is incorrect.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
I agree with. But in the sense of, was said individual entitled to send that email? Oh, but yes, in the context I said it in.
It means, entitled literally means whether you have the right or you don't have the right.
Yes.
You're talking to two English teachers, Stav, and the thing is,
I
have an English degree, which I don't know how I got through.
The thing is, like,
okay,
is it
but
now, Alex? I'll put this to you. Is it worth? I mean, is it worth making those calls?
Yes, it is.
I reckon it is too, because I think language it needs to be precise, because we get so many things wires crossed when we don't use precise language.
To be completely honest with you, I've got many friends that went to my university that was a law specialist university. You want to be really careful with the words you say.
Yeah.
If you fuck with the law, that's your...
It comes down to a word.
Exactly.
In the law.
Precisely. That comes between the difference between you getting off scot-free
and you not.
And you going to jail.
Or going to fucking hospital.
You don't want to say entitled when you mean privileged.
Yes.
You don't want to say right when you mean has no right. So
You don't want to say, I'm going to... I'm okay. I'm going to take a piss. I'll be back in a second.
you're going for a
mate.
piss.
I'm going to mic my mic. No, mute my mic.
Mute your mic. Otherwise we'll get a nice little echo going there in the background. I really don't like that. It drives me insane.
What's that?
Doesn't work for me.
Okay, let's talk about something else. All right.
What are we talking about?
Okay, so we have no radio programmer at the moment, so we're going to talk
Josh's
about what it
leg
means
up.
to be Greek Australian.
Oh dear Lord.
like that.
Oh, there's a can of worms. Okay, there we go.
I'm British, I'm not Greek, but you know, I've met many Greek
Australian,
Australians.
I am
So
Greek.
Australia,
Aussies are not Greek.
bring it
Yeah,
on.
but-
Okay.
But are you? But are you not? That's the question.
You know what an identity crisis is, right?
Yes. That the explanation I have.
Yeah,
it's
we've all
very-
seen Toy Story. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, do you know what? I was having a chat with a mate of mine back home about that when it came out, and I was just like, oh, okay, you're like excited, new Toy Story, and I'm sitting there, I'm going,
What, Toy Story 4?
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
so you know, obviously, there's a new Toy Story. Yay, great, fantastic. And then I see the preview for it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's a spoon, that it's a fork, and it's a toy, and they just threw it all in there in one mix. And I studied
Oh,
children's
shit.
literature because I was way
Yeah,
too
yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
right. So you know, Charlie
Yeah.
and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda, and let's
Yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah.
let's hang the shit on that. And I
Ella
was watching that, and I was like, oh dear. And I studied psychology as well, so I was having in my head, I was having a field day.
What, like an identity crisis?
I was watching it and I was like, oh wow. And I turned to my mate and I said, okay, so that's where we've gotten to with children's films now. Okay, yep,
What
great.
for?
And he was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, did you not understand that? And he's like, it looks like a cool trailer. And I'm like, oh shit, mate. I'm like, mate, let's watch again.
Are you
And
talking about Toy Story 4?
Toy Story 4.
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't seen it, so-
I have not actually seen it either. And I mean, I hope it's a great film, but watching the preview for it, I was looking at it and I'm going, this spork is having a really rough time.
Oh, shit.
It doesn't know what it is.
Sorry, we're talking about the identity crisis
Of Toy Story
it's
4,
a thing.
which we've
It's a
not
thing.
seen. Toy
Story 4.
It's a
We haven't
fucking
seen
thing.
it yet. No, but have you seen the the preview for it?
I'm sorry, the identity crisis is a fucking thing, and don't ever tell me it's not.
The new character is a spork, so it doesn't.
What the fuck we talk about Toy Story?
we're talking about
It's
identity.
not, it's not specifically
Specifically
about
Toy
Toy Story.
Story.
It's about the identity crisis, the existential crisis. Okay, for instance.
In regards to Toy Story.
No, not specifically, just exemplary. Right. So, the music.
Did that music get louder?
Fuck, is it getting louder?
Loud.
Can we get?
Okay. Do you remember? Mamma mia. Do you remember the first Toy Story film?
Yeah.
Where he's like to infinity and beyond, and he realizes he opens the little flap on his arm and it says "Made in Taiwan."
Made in Taiwan, yeah.
And he realizes that his life is completely meaningless. He's not a space invader. He's not anything. And also, I think there are many films like that, actually. It's not Toy Story exclusively.
That music did get louder. Jeez.
There are so many films out there that are about the existential crisis.
Like?
Okay, the existential crisis. Can you think of one?
Oh, not off the top of my head right now. Should I
All
play
right.
Google?
As in films that question your sense of reality?
Yeah, exactly.
Or identity.
Where you think, hang on. Wait,
Identity in reality.
Yeah, I thought I was something,
Matrix?
but it turns out I'm okay.
Something
maybe
else.
the Matrix. Yeah.
I have a hard time explaining it when they're like, but you're Greek, but you're Australian, but you're Greek, but you're Australian.
Exactly. So yeah. It
So
started off,
stuff that involves identity as
yeah,
a
we
theme.
started off with the idea of whether you're Greek or Australian, and then we moved on to movies. So whatever.
As we do. Are you a movies person?
I am, but you know the idea. I
Are
think
you more musical movies?
Sorry.
We have to say sorry with headphones on and fuck it.
I know.
Can we ask him to maybe turn it down a
I
bit?
don't know. We'll see.
I can
Are you
hear it.
movies or music?
Sì, ascolto. Sorry, I was on Italian for a second. Parla italiano.
De nada.
That's not.
Pero
that's not.
no es italiano, pero hablo
That's
español un poco.
español.
¿Hablas español?
Un poco.
Un poco.
Ma italiano. I just fucking hell. Okay. Parla italiano.
Parla italiano?
Sì, parla italiano.
No.
Scusa, no.
Scusa, no.
There you go.
No.
Did he just turn it off?
No,
No,
I prefer
there you go.
Italian to Spanish. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mi
Actually,
piace
Spanish.
you
spagnolo.
know what? I agree.
No, I don't.
When I speak Spanish, I do it in an Italian accent.
No, I like
Oh.
Spanish.
No hablo español.
Tu parla italiano. C'è un altro che parla italiano, ma
How many languages do you
non è
know?
qui vicino.
How many languages do you know?
How many?
Vicino means nearby.
No, how many languages do you speak?
Oh, okay. Don't mistake speaking a bit of a language for
How
being
many do you
fluent.
speak?
Ok, posso parlare un po' italiano, ma non è perfetto.
How many-
I speak
how many
a
ways
bit
can you-
of Italian,
yeah.
but it's not fucking perfect.
How
man.
many ways can you say I speak this language?
Okay, how many ways can I say I can speak Italian? Okay, Russian, I can say.
Russian?
Я плохо говорю по-русски.
Fuck, that sounds cool. What's
Я
that?
плохо говорю по-русски.
Yeah, I'll have a lemon rusky.
Yeah. Okay, repeat after me. Okay. Я
Yeah.
плохо
Placha.
говорю
Gavaria.
Kavaria.
Gavaria.
по-русски.
Marus.
Paruski.
Я не понимаю.
Yani Panimayo.
Very good.
Yani Panimayo.
Я не понимаю means I don't understand.
I love that. Yani Panimayo.
Mayo, that's real
Yeah,
Aussie.
yeah.
Mayo.
Yani Panimayo.
Говорю
Oh, my
по-русски.
favourite was like Indonesia, Tarin Makasi, Tarin Makasi.
Terry
You got
Makasi.
to Tarin Makasi.
Dude, no. Today I learnt my favourite.
I want to
Fuck.
learn Czech.
What is it? Fuck Harry's
No,
toe.
it's F
Say
Harry's
that
toe.
again. F Caristo.
Fuck Harry's toe.
Oh, I've got a passenger.
F Harry's toe. And I'm dropping F this,
Hello.
F that. I said to a vendor today,
Oh,
F,
man.
F thank you.
F Caristo.
I just got mixed up. I was like, F thank you. Because I got the F started.
Bear with me 1 minute. I'm just going to take a break. I need to take this phone call.
Alright, no, it's I'll meet you. What is she? No. Yeah, we're good. We're on.
Are we paused or are we on?
No, we're on. We're always
We're
fucking on.
on.
We're always
Nice.
on.
Я
We don't-
плохо говорю по-русски.
Fuck, that sounds.
It does sound good, doesn't it? It just means
I've got
I
a thing
don't
for
speak very
Russians.
good Russian.
I've got a thing for Russians and I've got a thing for Scandinavians.
Oh, you
And
want
you
to
reckon-
Sorry?
Do you speak Scandinavian?
I can speak a bit of Swedish.
A bit of sweet.
Okay.
The fucking
Yeah.
accent came out
A bit
then.
of Swedish, yeah.
Bit of sweet. A bit Swedish.
A bit of Swedish. Yeah. You want me to speak Swedish?
Of course.
Okay.
Always.
Jag heter Alex.
Jag heter Alex. My name's Alex.
Very good. Jag är
Jag är.
av England.
Jag är av England.
What do you think that means?
From England. My name's Alex. I'm from England.
Very good. Jag,
Can I have all that in one?
Sorry. Jag är av England.
Jag har it. Fuck,
Jag
such a
har
sexy
av
language.
England.
Jag har it England.
Jag kan inte förstå svenska.
If I said to I love that I don't know what you call
know,
it,
it's-
an intonation.
Yeah, the
it's like
intonation. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah.
Well, I watched a
Let's
lot
try
of
Jag kan inte förstå.
jag kan if I förstår.
Very good. Jag kan inte förstå
Jag kan inte förstå
engelska.
engelska.
That means I don't understand English. Jag kan inte förstå engelska.
Fuck. Alright, you've lost me.
Jag kan inte förstå
Jag
engelska.
kan inte förstå
Engelska.
engelska. Engelska is English.
Engelska. Yeah, very good. Jag har en syster.
Jag kan en sister.
What do you think that means?
Sister?
Yeah.
Is it sister?
Yes, exactly. Jag.
Yeah. I have
Har.
one sister.
Very good.
What's one?
En.
N.
Very good. Jag har.
How do you count to 10?
Okay, you want me to count to 10 in Swedish? Okay. Ett, två,
Två,
tre,
tre,
fyra,
like the German word.
fyra, fem,
Fem.
sex,
Yes, please.
sju,
Sju.
åtta,
Åtta.
nio,
Octo. Like octo. Yeah.
nio,
Neo.
tio.
Tio.
Ett,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4,
5,
5,
6,
6,
7,
7,
8, no, hang on, wait, 8,
8,
9,
9,
10.
10.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, con 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's very close to German.
8, 9, 10. Exactly, but you
Which is no
cannot say that
surprise.
to Swedish people. If
Really?
you say German, you speak German. Ein bisschen.
What do you think of German as a language?
I love German. It's because I'm prejudiced
I like
because I have
it.
German family.
I like it with girls, but I find they fucking mash up all these consonants together.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
like
I'm
that.
okay with that. I've
I
always,
don't. I need constant. I need vowels. I need vowels in between things for me to work things
I'm not
out.
gonna lie to you. I've always had a bit of a desire to, you know, with a
To-
German guy.
Oh, really? You haven't
Yeah.
yet? Really?
Yeah, it's an unfulfilled desire.
What is it about the sexual connotation of German men that gets you all worked up?
Okay.
Is it them speaking? Is it the blonde hair?
Yeah, maybe it's the language
is
a little
it the
bit.
master
but,
race thing coming through?
No, nothing like that.
What is it? The accent?
I don't know. I think
Is that your what do you call it? Your bucket flag?
my bucket list,
Your bucket flag.
bucket flag.
You want to plant the flag in that country,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Maybe there's a certain desire to fulfill certain
Plant the flag.
needs before dying, whatever. Before you
Yeah,
bucket.
but before you
Exactly.
before you bucket, you want to fuck it.
Before you bucket, you
Before you
want to fuck
bucket,
it.
you want to
yeah.
fuck it. Plant
But
the
you know,
flag.
if I'm to be honest with you, I think it's because I've never liked English guys, and
Yeah.
so I've always had a bit of an international taste.
Yeah, me too.
And I've been around Greece and Spain, and Italy and
You're done with the olive skin.
sorry,
You're done with olive skin.
the what?
You're done with olive skin.
Well, yeah, I think because Germany has always been very respected as well. So, I have met some German guys that you sort of feel a little bit humbled by because Germany is it's considered a very efficient country.
Fishing is the word.
Exactly. So you can fuck a Greek guy, you can fuck an Italian guy, you can fuck a Portuguese guy, a Spanish guy, and it's just kind of like, well, that was easy.
but not efficient.
Exactly. I'm not going to lie to you.
Hang on. What do you mean easy?
Sorry?
What do you mean easy?
Well,
Easy to get or easy to go through?
maybe both, I don't know. But the idea of
Easy to
shagging
get
an
the
Italian
sex
guy,
or easy to go through the sex?
Well, let me put it to you like this. Let's just say that Italian guys are the most stereotypically gorgeous guys on the planet. If you score with an Italian guy, how do you feel as a woman? How do you feel afterwards? It's like, oh yeah, that was really great. Yeah, because they're the most gorgeous men on the planet.
Hang on. Is that simply because of the physical nature of the experience?
Exactly, yeah. So,
Big dicks, basically.
but then when you actually think about it, it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to be shallow my entire life, Maybe I want to, not shag somebody that looks like a model, but it turns out that he's an absolute asshole. Maybe one day you sort of think, oh my God, this guy actually has a respectable job. He's wearing a nice watch.
Hang on a sec.
He's got a nice body. He's.
But don't you
punctual.
find that the more attractive the body, the less creative the sex?
Potentially, but that's all the experimentalism.
Yeah.
It's like, when I was growing up, I grew up around a lot of Mediterranean guys. They all had motorbikes. They were all seductors. And all of my girlfriends were just like, oh my God, he's so sexy. And I was just like, yeah, sure, he's so sexy because he has a motorbike and because he smokes cigarettes and he's got that kind of bad boy look going on about him, And then when you grow up a little bit, you sort of start to realize that maybe the bad boy look isn't everything.
Yeah, I was the same growing up.
Yeah?
You look at girls and go, yeah, like the hot ones are the hot ones, and blah 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 blah. And
See,
they
I
must
don't
be good
really
and hot.
understand. I don't really understand how the male mind works in that sense, because the female mind is all about, like, when you're young, it's all about the bad boys, and when you're older, it's all about the respectable boys, men.
Yeah, it's weird.
So how does it work with females like that?
Well, first of all, you guys are a little ahead of the curve, like I've mentioned, brain and emotionally wise. Men are more, you know, I don't know, simple or less complicated. So our needs are a little bit more black and white.
Sure.
We don't want, like, you girls seem to like the bad boys when they're young. Fuck knows why. I don't know why. So I was never a bad boy. So I never get any trim back in the day. Mm-hmm. Don't get much now.
Fair.
But I never got it. Why do you like bad people? That's what I don't get about women.
Weird impression.
Why the
that
fuck do you like bad
girls
people?
like bastards? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't get it. Is it like a challenge? Do you like, I can change him? I want to have a positive influence on this bad person's life? Do you like danger?
Maybe it's because
when I
the
say
idea of danger implies that they are a survivor, and if they're a survivor, they're a good father.
Sorry.
I know.
That's pretty fucked up.
It is fucked up. Okay, like, there's one thing that I have always understood, and that is I've always found a man with a nice watch.
Nice watch. It's interesting.
Because if a man has a nice watch, he is therefore a good father. Why?
Time is important.
Yes.
Responsibility according to that time is important.
Mm-hmm.
So if a timepiece is dedicated to simply time, not just a part of your phone, then you are functioning on some kind of level where you're organising things.
Yeah, interesting that you referred to phones. Think about 100 years ago. What do you think it meant to wear a watch 100 years ago?
Well, you're a man of importance, I guess. You're a provider. Mm-hmm. So if you're living by the clock, you're responsible.
Yeah, what about how expensive a watch actually is? Do you think a young man goes out and pays for his own watch?
A watch indicates importance, status.
Exactly. And what about his relationship with his father?
With his father, a respect for hard work.
Exactly. It means he's reached a certain age where his father has handed down his watch to him. And what do you think a watch actually means?
I love your questions. Fuck, are you hosting this or am I? This is turned into her show.
We're talking about the significance of
watches.
A watch on a young
On a
man.
man.
Because I said that, the bad boy look, blah, blah, blah. But what I actually find attractive in a man is a nice watch. And why do you think that is? We've already talked about the idea of it. His
Are
father
you reaching this point that you respect those who have been passed down from fatherly responsibility?
For example, yes, I'm from a country that has existed for a very long time. We have the oldest and most famous clock in the world here in the UK.
Good old Ben.
Exactly. So what do you think it means?
Right.
What do you think it means to be in a modern or historically civilized country and to have a watch? A country that has been characterized by the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, the working man.
The working man, exactly. So what do you think it means for a young man to wear a watch? And why do you think that might be attractive to a young woman like myself? So
If you're looking for- if you're looking-
responsibility.
But if you're looking for those things as a woman, in this day and age, it's a bit old-fashioned.
True.
My mum always told me to look at their feet.
That's
Okay,
that's true.
what's that?
Look at their feet. I mean, it's I guess the part that's slightly forgotten at times. It's like, do you clip your toenails or are your shoes in like at their feet?
fucking remember.
Interesting.
Look, do you remember this?
You have an anti-foot fetish.
I'm not. No, I don't want your foot in my face, and I don't want to
She
suck on your
hates
toes.
feet.
I
She
don't
hates
want
feet.
that.
I put my feet in your face
Oh, but
once
that-
and you fucking lost it.
I don't
remember
want
that.
feet. Do you know what? I've had to deal with feet in work so much and in the disability sector. So you can imagine the kinds of feet that I've come across. And it's I just, it's one of those things. Is like if you look down at somebody, man or woman, not even just a man or woman, if you look down at their feet and you look down at the condition of their toenails. I'm not talking about a few hairs here and there, like we've got bodily hair, right? I'm talking about
the length of their
just
nails.
looking down at their toenails.
The manicuring nature of their nails.
And it does not need to be a freaking French manicure. It's just like,
They take care of
are your
themselves.
feet clean? Is there grot and filth all over there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that says something about a person. It's that you bend over and you give them a bit of a scrub.
True.
I'm not talking about.
You could apply that to hands. You could apply that to hair.
I mean, you could, but I feel that feet are the ones that are sort of
left behind.
that are
It's a
left
tricky
behind.
area, though.
It's the one that
Yeah.
it's like.
Well, when I was living in Italy, like the streets were so dirty that I felt like the shoes I was wearing walking to work were picking up dog shit.
Yeah.
And I like to walk around
So-
barefoot. I genuinely,
I've got
for the
athlete's
most part,
foot.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, certain places I don't enjoy it so much, but I generally enjoy being barefoot.
You do realize that like shoes are a human invention.
Yeah.
As are roads. So
This is what we were talking about
Talking
earlier.
about earlier.
Yeah. The
comfort
as in,
factor.
But this is what I'm saying is that like I enjoy being barefoot. I like the feeling of being
It's good
barefoot.
for you.
It's good for me, but there is a difference between like I'm walking around barefoot and I've had the same filth under my nail for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying when I say clean. I'm not saying
Worn.
yeah.
Just looked after.
I'll look down at somebody's feet if for some reason
So
they're
you look at feet. You look at watches. Or lack thereof.
I tend to look at posture.
I'm a bit.
Did he iron his shirt?
I want to unpack your. Hang on a sec.
Little things.
Hang on a sec. I want to unpack this whole watch attraction thing. I find it very confuddled. Is that a word? Can you be confuddled? Or is it
Confusing.
befuddled?
Confuffled? Confused?
That someone like
Fire
you
away.
is still in search of a man with a watch.
I'm not in search of a man with a watch.
She
I'm
appreciates
what I'm
a man with
telling
a
you
watch.
Is that if I see a man with a good watch, something ignites.
See?
It's
You've
not
got
that
an
I'm
internal
not-
fire based
But
on this.
I've got a question. When you say with
That's
a
what
good
I mean.
watch, could it be a quirky watch, or it does? It's not got anything to do with the fact of it being like an Armani or a Rolex. It's just
What I'm
something
telling
that
you-
is.
No, it's
Okay,
not material.
yeah.
It's
Let me-
based on
Let me break
a.
it down to you. Okay?
break it down.
I am not looking for a man with a watch, nor am I judging a man by his watch. I
She
am
just
telling you right
appreciates
now
a good watch.
that, no, a watch at all, is the female equivalent of a push-up bra.
No watch equals push-up bra. In your eyes.
A watch
Equals
A
push-up
watch.
bra.
Oh, our watch is.
A watch
Our watch equals push-up bra.
means push-up bra.
Well, fuck. Well, push-up
Honestly,
bra for
because if you
me.
think about it, right, the male body is often focused. The focus is on the upper body, right?
Yeah.
The arms are the strengths.
Yeah.
And so seeing a man with his strong hands, and you won't believe how much of a difference it makes, the difference it makes to see somebody you've known since they were a teenager
Yeah.
and seeing that they have matured,
Yeah.
ergo their hands
Dear
are
Lord, he's
strong,
busting off the Fitbit.
their arms are strong,
Is this not a watch?
maybe
Is this a
slightly
This is a
hairy.
Fitbit. It's a
Fuck.
Fitbit.
Not that hair is attractive, but
Do you find
they're
like
there.
that? 'Cause
with a big old watch, all of a sudden you see them as less of a boy and more of a man. It's
so
not
it's-
judging by the watch. It's
I mean,
the
to be
difference
fair,
between a
that,
boy and
that
a man.
watch was bought for me. I mean, it's a Fitbit, but the reason that was bought for me was because I am very, very hopeless at waking up to alarms, and it vibrates. It's got the alarm on it, and it's actually no. But when you're co-living and you're sharing hostel rooms and you're sharing, what in my field was guiding. I would have to wake up earlier than the other person in the room, and I would always be generally 9 times out of 10. I was respectful enough to have everything packed the night before, so I would just walk out of the room in the morning. I'd just quickly get dressed, and so that was I can wake up without waking the other person up, and the alarm was the backup plan. Like the phone was the backup. Two phones.
even just chucking this on, it reminds me of when I was wearing a watch, and it is a bit different.
I
You do kind of go, it's a dedicated timepiece. So
If you think back to the Industrial Revolution, all right, it was men that wore the watches. Why is that?
have no idea.
They were the ones in charge. They were the ones making all the decisions. Like, why were the fucking women
Yeah,
we
but
were
why
watching
did
those
men
days?
I feel
need to
naked
wear
now.
why did men need to wear watches during the Industrial Revolution?
Well, everything started becoming clockwork.
Sorry?
Everything started becoming clockwork.
Because.
Well, everything's what's the word? Machinated? Made
But
into machines.
what was the man's role versus the woman's role?
Well, man was the worker provider.
Exactly.
But
And so
that's
he
what
wore
I
a
mean.
watch
I don't get it.
because-
Why do you get attracted to someone who provides? Can't you provide for yourself?
Okay, yes, that's a very good point. You know, a feminist would say yes, you know, provide for yourself. But there is something instinctive and anthropological
Yes.
that sees a man wearing a watch that immediately thinks,
Well, that's like me saying I'm attracted to fucking girls with big asses because they got childbearing hips.
I'm just saying it's the same.
That's true. I actually am attracted to big asses. I don't know if it's because they got child-wearing hips, but
So yeah,
Maybe there's something in
it is
there.
the female
Yeah,
equivalent
but as
of
a
wearing
female, you
push-up
see a
bra.
man, you know, taller and broader and stronger, and that's
Think about
That's
Donald Trump.
basic
Ugly
instinct.
as fuck.
Yeah.
But he wears that suit and he got that stupid Melania girl into bed. And why is that?
hang on, what? What? Who? I missed that. Who in the suit?
Donald Trump,
Oh, it's
ugly
him.
as fuck. But how on earth did he get
I don't think it
Melania
was the
into bed?
watch.
Yeah, exactly. Why
don't
did he
think
get
it was
her
the
into
watch.
bed? Because he was
Providing.
Provider.
providing.
Yeah, but that says more about her than him,
True. But there's something we can learn about women from that, right?
which is
Women, whether we like it or not, we are instinctive animals and we look for a sign of a good provider.
You look
wow.
at who,
That's very interesting because you strike me as a
Mating.
bit of a feminist,
I am a feminist.
and to say
yes.
that.
yeah, but you
very
look
interesting.
Make
but you look at another
confessions
person and you
Okay.
start like if you sit there and you're just like, if I were to mate with that person and create a human, you look at them biologically. I mean, there's a reason why there's like, you know, you got lions, lion den. It's like you are the strongest male. You are the one that
The
is
alpha.
going to. You are the alpha. You are the one that is going to pass on good genetics to my
Yeah,
child, and that is
yeah.
instinctive.
Yeah.
That there's a part of that is just basic human instinct.
I wonder if
and
that plays more of a
biological
part in the female
evolution.
mind than the male. Like, I wonder if that plays a higher role in the female mind than the male. This whole idea of passing on genes. For guys, I feel like it's just whatever fucking comes your way, get it. But for girls, it's like, well, are you going to be a provider, dad type
Yeah, but
thing?
are you not more attracted to
I don't
a
think
woman
of
that?
like I'm not looking at an attractive woman thinking fuck she's
But
gonna be she's
but-
attractive because she's gonna be
but
a
you,
good mum.
But are you not attracted to a woman who you can see as being nurturing
Ultimately,
and
yes.
independent?
Ultimately,
and
Ultimate.
But
And I think that's the
ultimately,
word.
Yeah.
right. So are you?
I think there's a lot of
as-
fun in games.
In terms of looking
but
at
ultimately, yes.
ultimately,
yeah,
as a
exactly.
male, you will look at a female and taking out all the bits and
And if
pieces
you're
of
talking
preference.
about watches
you are looking for
ultimately-
that nurturing,
I know,
motherly.
and I've tried to explain this before. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get knocked up. I'm not looking to start a family right now. But the fact that you've got big, strong hands and you're wearing a nice watch means I am attracted to you.
But that's
whether
all-
you like it or not. I'm not trying to start a family with you. I just want to fuck you. Is that a crime?
And if I was to get knocked up by you, you could look after me and our said
Exactly, yeah.
child if I required
In
it.
a
Not that I'm
civilized
incapable
world.
of doing
Exactly.
it myself.
In a civilized world, I just want to fuck you. I don't want to start a family. But my anthropological urges
Yes.
say, man, you look good. I see that.
Men's
you know,
role in
right
society
arm.
goes beyond just being able to provide physically safety in
And
nature
yeah,
to
don't tell me I'm a bad
child
person for saying
children.
this because men are just the same.
We're not saying that it doesn't. It does. Of course it does. But
What about a man who is able to give emotional support? How do you read that? That's not on a watch.
Sorry, what was the question?
How about a man who can give emotional support to a child? You can't read that on a watch.
I can't really.
You can't read that on a watch. Like, you can be a provider and beat the shit out of your kid, right? You could be a non-provider and yet rear that child to have good morals, right? You can't read that on a watch.
That's called a friend.
Uncle, godfather.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's not to say that emotional support is
We have
not.
to see-
It's not. That's not discounting it from the equation. That needs to be there too, along with everything else.
I don't know. Being a good friend is you know, it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to have a good, solid friendship.
What was that?
Ciggies, can I go off here?
Yeah, do you know my smokes? They're just over there. Oh no, they're in my.
Oh, they're out of ciggies.
No, we got mine. Here, babe. Here you go.
Much
sorry.
obliged.
No,
Shall we pause?
Shall we intermission? Take an
We're going to make
intermission.
an
Let's take an
intermission here,
intermission.
folks, because I'm afraid there are
Hit the
too
big
many
red
cigarette
button.
needs.
Big red button. That's the one you want to press. No, the one that says record.